On July 5, 2025, precisely at 10:15 in the morning by local clocks, the USS Chung-hoon, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer from the US fleet, carried out standard surveillance runs across the contested waters of the South China Sea, safeguarding open passage for all vessels in shared maritime zones. This seemed like a typical early-day assignment, similar to countless prior missions. Yet, on this occasion, the situation shifted dramatically. Sensors aboard the Chung-hoon detected an incoming vessel, identified as a Chinese Type 055 cruiser. The events that unfolded next involved a massive aerial deployment of combat aircraft and the emergence of an atomic-driven submersible, nearly sparking the flames of World War III. The South China Sea serves as a long-standing arena of rivalry between two global superpowers, America and China. This expanse matters immensely. The Chinese Type 055 cruiser lingered merely 150 miles, or 240 kilometers, from the US vessel, the USS Chung-hoon. Abruptly, it surged ahead from 20 to 35 knots within just 80 seconds. Such a swift shift couldn't possibly stem from chance alone. Its goal appeared clear: to cut off the path of the American warship. Personnel on the Chung-hoon's command deck grasped the danger as genuine. Knowing full well their path was monitored, the Chinese cruiser pressed forward regardless. This burst of speed stemmed from directives issued straight from the capital: block the US forces and compel them to back down. Essentially, to embarrass them publicly, or in regional terms, to strip away their honor. Beijing's side recognized clearly that the USS Chung-hoon operated with support. Trailing it stood the complete strength of a US aircraft carrier battle formation, headed by the USS Abraham Lincoln, among the mightiest vessels ever built, dubbed informally as a mega carrier for its advanced features. Compelling a force of that caliber to withdraw would mark a profound setback for US prestige. The Chung-hoon's scanning arrays swiftly analyzed incoming information. 2 minutes following the Chinese vessel's speed-up, evaluation wrapped up. The Type 055 cruiser registered as a credible hazard. Within 8 minutes, the US ship could enter its attack perimeter. US personnel stood prepared for countermeasures. 6 RGM-84 missiles, each able to deliver 490-pound or 222-kilogram payloads at velocities reaching 0.8 Mach over ranges up to 80 miles or 130 kilometers. Still, leadership aboard the Chung-hoon stayed composed and chose against hasty moves. The skipper directed the team to monitor closely and anticipate the adversary's follow-up. Opting against instant retaliation to the bold advance proved a vital tactical choice, upholding poise, mystery, and moderation. That's the edge America holds in these high-stakes scenarios. Even with China drawing near to only 160 miles, or 260 kilometers, the Chung-hoon's team held firm in their capabilities. They commanded a cutting-edge destroyer featuring one of the planet's top-tier aerial shield and projectile interception setups, the Aegis. Supporting them loomed the mega-carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, stocked with numerous dependable F/A 18E/F Super Hornet strike fighters. And ultimately, reinforcing them was the entire arsenal of the United States, the unyielding backing of their country, despite being almost 6,500 miles or 10,500 kilometers distant. All the while, the Chinese cruiser held steady at 35 knots, narrowing the gap further. Then, something unexpected emerged on the scopes. What could it be? An E-2C Hawkeye surveillance and directive plane, cruising at 24,000 feet or 7,300 meters, transmitted an alert. J-16 jets lifted off from China's carrier, the Liaoning. Nearly at once, the Chung-hoon's underwater listening gear captured traces of a Chinese Type 041 submersible. This 2,200-ton battery-powered underwater craft housed as many as 50 crew members. It carried 6 upright firing tubes for YJ-18 anti-vessel projectiles, akin to Russia's Onyx model, plus 533mm Yu-6 homing torpedoes. The sub dated from the early 1990s, rendering it noisy and sluggish, topping out at 16 knots below surface. By contrast, a US Seawolf-class sub could hit 28 knots submerged, about 32 miles per hour or 52 kilometers hourly. That Chinese vessel stood as little shot at creeping up on US assets as a cargo hauler sneaking past Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan amid peak commute without drawing eyes. The leadership in Beijing evidently pushed for heightened pressure and deterrence through this tactic, yet America had countermeasures lined up. At 10:28, extra FA-18E Super Hornets and EA-18G Growler jamming planes roared off the USS Abraham Lincoln's flight surface. Quickly, a pair consisting of 1 Super Hornet and a Growler ascended. The Growler promptly engaged its advanced gear, disrupting Chinese scanning waves and generating phantom echoes to bewilder opposing aviators. At 10:38, the Chinese cruiser neared a perilous proximity to the carrier and initiated lock-on with its array radar. Moves like that often signal impending rocket fire. Nevertheless, oversight of the US carrier task force kept their cool. The RGM-84 missiles stayed idle in their silos. The Chung-hoon persisted in vigilant oversight of each Chinese action, gearing up for swift rebuttal. A Chinese jet veered alarmingly near an FA-18, but the US flyer showed no external signs of alarm. At 10:42, the Chinese sub advanced on US positions, but had fighting erupted, it faced annihilation in 15 seconds flat, precisely the duration for RIM 174 projectiles from the USS Chung-hoon to strike and reduce it to wreckage on the ocean floor, safe even for shrimp. Countering this advance, the magnetic launch rails on the USS Abraham Lincoln started hurling Super Hornets skyward sequentially. Initially the first, followed by another, the next, fourth, eighth. Intense magnetic bursts from the rail system's power banks, showing zero wear, propelled 28,000 pounds of alloy and circuits upward repeatedly. 15th, 20th, 25th. Those beasts climbing high as the rails kept firing. 35th, 40th in mere moments. 52 FA-18E Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers surged toward a handful of Chinese J-16s, primed to demolish whatever blocked them. At 17:14, a broadcast order went out, declaring drills concluded, and Chinese units started distancing from the US carrier assembly. The capital hoped to assert dominance over the South China Sea. Ultimately, the USS Abraham Lincoln battle formation decisively proved to everyone that the South China Sea isn't their private lagoon. It's basically America's 7th inland sea, only with extra brine. How about that? Is the US tally of major bodies 6 or 7 now? Share your views below in the comments. Wrapping up here, appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button and subscribe to Winds of Thought for more. Catch you soon.